In our last video, we spoke about how Spain, a small nation, went on to rule over an empire so vast that it held territories on every continent then known to the Europeans, including North and South America and even the Philippines. However, due to numerous wars fought on various fronts, things were changing. The last Habsburg monarch, Charles II, was left in charge of a declining Spanish empire. His physical and mental weakness made him unable to steer Spain out of the storm. He had no heir, and other European powers feared that on his death, the throne of Spain would pass on to his only relative Philip, grandson of the French king, thus uniting two powerful empires that would completely change the balance of European power. Charles died in 1700 and, as was feared, willed for Philip to succeed him. War broke out. France and Spain joined hands against the Grand Alliance of England, Portugal, Savoy, the Netherlands, and Austria. After 12 long years of bitter fighting, the war came to an end. Philip was recognized as King of Spain, but in return had to renounce all claims to the French throne. Spain was even forced to cede large parts of its European empire. The fall had begun. Europe was divided, and a bigger war was coming. Austria's desire to recover Silesia from the Prussians led to war that saw Europe now divided into two coalitions. Fighting spread across the world into their European colonies as well. Britain won the war, and having gained a number of new territories, soon emerged as the world's leading colonial power. France ceded all its territory in mainland North America, while Spain was forced to cede Florida. Coming out of the war, France was hugely in debt, and in order to restore its financial health, looked to tax the local population. This eventually led to the French Revolution under Napoleon I, who overthrew the king and established a republic in its place. Prior to this, France and Spain were both ruled by the Bourbon family, and Spain had no reason to fear a French invasion. Its only serious enemy was Britain, which had a powerful navy. Spain therefore concentrated a maximum of its resources on its navy. The French Revolution now overthrew the Bourbons in France, and Napoleon assumed the role of dictator. On one side was the threat of a Napoleonic invasion, and on the other was growing British power. Britain had managed to isolate Spain from its colonies in the Americas to a large extent. Trade there was handled by the American and Dutch traders. As a result, the colonies had achieved almost complete economic independence from their home country, Spain. They had even set up temporary governments. Charles abdicated the throne in 1808, passing on the crown to his son Ferdinand. During this time, Napoleon wished to isolate Britain economically, and due to the ever-changing stand of Spain, sometimes in support of and sometimes against him, Napoleon invaded Iberia, defeating the Spanish and declaring his brother Joseph as King of Spain. In a complex series of revolts the same year, Spain lost all of its North and South American colonies, except Cuba and Puerto Rico. Napoleon's brother ruled for just 6 years until he was overthrown, and Ferdinand was restored as king. In Spain, however, a revolution was taking place. The emergence of liberal thought now divided the nation. Revolts and unrest gripped a large part of the 19th century Spain. A system of turnos was established, in which liberals and conservatives alternated in control of the government, and some sort of stability was seen. During the latter half of the 19th century, close to 90% of Cuba's exports and 40% of imports were with the United States alone, almost 12 times that of Spain. While Spain still held political authority over Cuba, economic authority had shifted to the United States of America. In 1868, the Cubans began their long struggle for independence. The United States of America had important economic interests that were being harmed by more than 30 years of conflict in Cuba, and repeated talks with Spain failed. The year was 1898. This was the era of yellow journalism in the United States that pushed the government to support the revolutionaries and go to war with Spain. America won the war and Cuba declared its independence. Spain was even forced to sell the Philippines to the United States and relinquish all claims to the last remnants of its once massive empire.